Okay, so here we are. Today we're going to talk about the UAD API channel strip that's available now natively via Spark. All right, so now we've got Pro Tools pulled up. I want to get a few housekeeping points out of the gate. Let's get those out of the way. I'm in Pro Tools. Now, one thing I want to draw attention to for this purpose of this test, because I intentionally went down this route, because it should be the least performing of the ones that they have it approved for, okay? And the reason I say that is Pro Tools is Pro Tools is Monterey, OS X Monterey approved, okay? But it is not Apple Silicon approved yet, okay? Same is the case for UAD Spark plugins. Now, I misquoted them, or rather I should say I misread their spec page in my original overview of UAD Spark, where I said that UAD plugins were Apple Silicon native, and obviously they're not yet, okay? They are OS X Monterey approved, but they are not M1 native yet, okay? So I say all that to say this. Just imagine how much more you're going to be able to utilize this plugin as well as the others if you happen to be on a Pro Tools system at a later date that is Apple Silicon native, as well as once UAD updates their Spark plugins to be Apple Silicon native. So we're only going to see even more performance, okay? So let's dive in and let's look at, for a second, the actual plugin. So here we go. Here we've got the API channel strip here. And what you've really got here, like most channel strips, is you've got multiple plugins basically all in one. Now, I don't know if the way UAD did these plugins is any different than their competition, aka whether it's Wave, Softtube, Brainworks, Slate Digital. I mean, so many others out there that have channel strips. They don't seem to be impacted by the fact that there's multiple things going on within one plugin. I don't know if that's the case for this or not. I guess we'll find out over time. All right. So the thing I want to look at right away, though, is talk about an overview of the channel strip and what you get with this channel strip. Now, this comes with a microphone preamp. Now, this is typically used for their Unison pre's in their Apollo units, but there's no reason whatsoever you can't use this natively with whatever microphone you want to use to get the API mic preamp tone. All right. And of course, then it comes with a high pass and a low pass built in. That's very, very, very handy. Okay. Then we've got their compressor, compressor and gate. I guess technically this is four plugins all in one. But regardless, you've got a compressor and a gate, and then followed up by the EQ. So this really has just about everything you would need as far as types of features that you would want, whether that's across multiple plugins or one plugin. This covers many, many, many aspects of the mix process, okay? So anyway, so there you've got that, all right? So now that we've got a clear understanding of all of that, let's close that out. Now, I could sit and take you through the whole process of watching me do this step by step. At some point, you're just going to have to trust that what I'm telling you is straight up right on, okay? Because it is, all right? So where I got to, let's pull up our Pro Tools meter here, and let's see where we're at from our system usage standpoint. Now, we talked about before the fact that I'm already at a 32 buffer within Pro Tools, all right? I'm basically using the sound card built into my M1 Pro MacBook Pro. That's what this is being done on, in case you're curious, with 16 gig of RAM, a 1 terabyte system drive, and that pretty much sums that up. Okay, so with this, again, I'm using the sound card built into, excuse me, using the sound card built into the computer because my Avid Carbon won't allow me to do all of the various inputs that I need at one time to be able to demonstrate this recording through this plugin, okay? So 32 buffer. For those of you coming from the UAD world that are not used to dealing with buffers very much and you're used to dealing with DSP, a 32 buffer basically means you're not going to have any audible latency. You're going to be able to wear your headphones, do everything you need, and stay at a 32 buffer. You're not going to hear any latency whatsoever, okay? So I'm saying that and doing this because with a 32 buffer, you can record through every channel I've got this on, assuming your CPU will handle it, all right? So how many channels do I have this on? Well, we can scroll through here and scroll all the way over, and I know you can't read all those, but here you can see I'm at 100 channels, okay? Now, for the record, I started out with 200, okay? I was able to get 200 channels with all the plugins on it, no problem, but as soon as I went to record, I could get about a minute into it, CPU overload, okay? Then I dropped it down to 175, then 150, 125, and then 100, okay? I landed on 100 because, first of all, how many of you out there are actually going to record 100 tracks at the same time? Now, that's question number one. Two, most of you out there, okay? Now, let's assume you've got 100 tracks in your session and you need to do an overdub and you want to do it through the UAD plugin, okay? Well, that's what you've got to consider, whether or not you have a limitation of being able to do that at that stage. I can tell you right now, you're going to see in a second, with up to 100, it is not a problem whatsoever, okay? So I'm going to bring my system usage back up again. All right, now we see kind of what's going on there. I'm going to bring my iStatistica up so you can see that. Basically, what you're seeing right now, I didn't mean to do that. Got a little frisky and launched Affinity Photo, so I'm going to quit that real quick. Affinity Photo, by the record, is way better than Photoshop if you're just learning. So much easier. I do all my thumbnails in it. Love it. Okay, so anyway, you can see right here where I'm running about 50%, give or take, on my CPU. This here with Apple Silicon, the way it works, I don't think they've updated this particular plugin yet, but basically anything blue and green, that's still available memory. As you can see over here, I'm only at 26% of memory within Pro Tools. Here you can see the CPU, and that's where it's, what is that, hovering around 60 some odd percent, somewhere in there. That's where it is overall. Now this is a computer, whereas this is in Pro Tools, all right? So you can see here I've got 100 tracks, okay? Scrolling all the way across over to here, I've got 100 tracks. You can see right there. I have the API channel strip on all of them. You can see those up there at the top. And on here, I'm going to put them all into record mode. Okay, so now they're all into record mode. When you see the meters jump up and down, it's recording my voice. I'll stop talking for a second. They'll go down and back up again. You can see that that's my voice, that is the input source, because I'm using the microphone in my MacBook Pro. Okay, so let's go over to the let's jump on over to the edit window so you can see this a little bit better, and then let's start recording. Now I'm going to let this record for 5 minutes, and the purpose of 5 minutes is because the odds of needing to record longer than that in any one given time is slim for most people. But I've usually found if you can get 5 minutes in, you can get as long as you really need to go. Now, you can see the meter there. It's starting to jump up and everything, but it's kind of hovering in that it goes up and down between 50 and 80% or so, depending on what's happening at the time. But so I'm going to just go from here. I'm going to just speed this up until it's done. All right. It looks like we're at the 5 minute mark. And there you go. Okay, so now we've seen that go 5 minutes, and I'm going to stop it now. All right. So there you can see that we clearly, okay, you can see there very clearly that recorded for 5 minutes on 100 tracks. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down through here as you see it. As that goes back down, and you can see it, that was no problem. Okay, so I don't know about you, considering this is UAD's plugins, it's pretty good. Is it as good as other plugins as far as efficiency? Probably not yet, but will it get there? Probably, and this is just one. We're going to do the rest of them too. All right, so now you got a chance to see APIs and to see what kind of efficiency you can get with that. Stand by for the next video where we'll be doing this with their compressors, both the LA2A and the 1176. That is coming up next.